The Hampton style in particular, it thrives on that symmetry in throughout the facade all the way through to the house, front to back. You know when you're in a good and well-designed Hamptons home that it's going to be warm, it's going to be light, it's going to be bright, it's going to be airy. G'day guys, welcome to the MTDC Lounge. This is a podcast that breaks down everything you need to know about designing and building your ultimate home and what to expect. Whether you're a DIY renovator, a budding developer, or everything in between, we'll dive into the building journey, touching on what to expect, what's next, and how to go about it. We'll hear from a heap of experienced consultants and trades about all aspects. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the lounge. G'day guys, and welcome to another ep of the MTDC Lounge. Today we've got something pretty exciting for you guys. We're starting a new segment called On the Lounge with Bree and Matt. We're going to be talking about designs and how they fit in the world of architecture and everything that we do. How you going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. All right, Bree. So today I think we're going to kick off on the all loved Hamptons-style.
Yep, cool. Love it.
How do you feel about it?
I love it. Like, it's a big thing when I see, go down the street and I see a nice, beautiful, grand Hamptons looking house, and it's just light and bright, and stands amongst the rest. So I like it.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's one of the biggest things that's been asked for in recent history. I think it's one of the biggest designs that everybody pushes for, thanks 100%. To those Reno shows and everything that kind of screams Australian coastal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So today let's walk through our listeners and our watchers, kind of what a Hamptons vibe kind of looks like.
Yeah, cool. I want to know where it actually started from, where it originated from. How is it such a big thing nowadays? Where did it come from?
yeah. Well, so I'm pretty sure it started back in America, back in New York, and it was there for the wealthy, and it was there to open up their family home to the kids, and they're growing up. And as time kind of progressed, Australia kind of adopted it up in Queensland, and as it's kind of evolved and grown. As Australians, because we're an open land, and we like to take in that sun and the sight and the view and the space. It's just kind of evolved into something naturally beautiful and very usable for Australia.
Yeah, cool. Because you get so many clients that are coming in, and the first thing they want is just that open feel and kind of having that, I guess, really good connection between the outdoors, which is, I guess, that's where Hamptons come into play as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a huge push for that connected family vibe, and I think having that colonial look, or that original vibe of history bringing into that modern look, I think that just really resonates with a lot of people.
For sure.
In Australia, because it's a warm place. It's a beautiful warm space that we can use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the design factors of the Hamptons that I particularly like is the whites and the brights and the beiges and things like that, because it's almost timeless, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And I mean, incorporating all of those timbers and all of those, I guess, those weatherboard looks, it really makes a statement from the road or anywhere that you're kind of sitting.
Absolutely. And even tying that in with some luscious greenery and things like that, and playing on the, like you said, the bark or the timbers and things like that, really give it that sense of warmth, but then still not creating a dull sort of look from the street. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Absolutely. With the colonial bars on your windows, or the big timber doors, having those views from the street, and I mean, even having those beautiful warm lights coming from the inside, and just showing a very open and inviting house. It just it definitely has its place, particularly around that coastal space of Australia. I think it's amazing. Even rural now, you're starting to see that rural colonial look that people still claim as Hamptons, but at the end of the day, I think it's a really great Australian staple.
Yeah, for sure.
Walk me through what you feel like is the best way to I guess, the design for a Hampton style house.
Ooh, okay, so I love to see what the existing house has to offer. I think if it's, if it's already got a weatherboard sort of clad, then we want to try and match that, and even just paint the exterior, maybe tie in some timbers and some external sort of harsher finishes in terms of like stacked stone or something like that has that cooler or warmer, one or the other coast, like, so that sort of palette. But I think for the actual design itself, I think it's very open plan, kind of directing all your main living and entertaining areas to the rear, and then keeping all your your bedrooms and private areas toward the front. I think as well, like when it comes to like if you're doing a second story addition, the staircase could be another great feature internally, where you're bringing in timbers again, or a nice balustrade feature that then ties back into the overall coastal feel, or the Hamptons feel that you're looking for. And then same thing with like raked ceilings, or a vaulted ceiling or something like that for your rear extension that then connects to your alfresco that's vaulted as well. Like that really does kind of go hand in hand with that Hamptons feel.
Absolutely. And the vaulted ceilings, which are the open ceilings, almost like a cathedral ceiling, or they're considered a cathedral ceiling, or both sides of the ceilings raked, so you're following that same fall of the roof. But there's a big emergence of I guess that design of roof. It's not just enough to have that widespread anymore, or that depth in openness. They want to have that vertical height as well.
For sure.
And I think while we're adding that space, having that vaulted ceiling or having that extra space above tells a story of I mean, a bit of grandeur, I suppose, without spending an incredible amount of money. And you get like a really nice feel of that openness, and particularly, like you touched on it briefly, having the living space out the back and the rooms up the front. It's almost rule 101 of architecture design. It's how we get taught while we're at uni, right? It's one of those things that, make sure that your living spaces are on your north side as much as you possibly can. You make sure your bedrooms are on that south side. But it's incredibly important, particularly with that Hamptons design style, that you have that connection through that, I guess that personal space of the bedrooms through to that living space, and where you're being inviting to the rest of the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you touched again on timbers and things like that. That's a huge thing for Hamptons, or the timber look, whether it's whitewashed or proper tan timbers. I mean, a nice, appropriately placed timber staircase, or a beautiful timber look or a feature throughout the house that's carried on really does make that difference between a standard dull looking house to a beautiful Hamptons looking style.
100%. Yep, absolutely.
So when we're talking about the finishes as well on the timbers, a big feature through the Hamptons are the stones and the clads as well, and basically through the floors and on the walls. Yeah,
absolutely. Because even you see some nowadays, like it's got that hint of that even with the front fence, and you kind of have that sort of, even if it is like a stacked stone sort of feature on this fence, that's then translated again into the entry foyer or something like that. That's then kind of like a connection between the two. And same thing with the timbers as well. Like, you can have your timber sort of inserts with the fence line that then kind of translates to the balustrade up on the front veranda or something like that has all that same sort of connection there.
Yeah, absolutely. That outside living is a incredibly important part of Australian life. Like we're outside having a barbie, we're with the kids having a swim, or we're throwing the cricket ball around the backyard. It's a big thing to have that connection through the inside and the outside, and a great way to do that is having those balustrades and those timbers all carrying all the way throughout, and making sure that everyone's connected. A real fun way to look at, I guess, the Hamptons style is like that, that outback Australian, or that old colonial American, to that Australian surf shack that's now a thing. People want that feeling of being on the coast, in a house. And it's making that sea change to a country change, or even vice versa. It's one of those things that's just it's almost deliberate everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
So while we're talking about the outside and inside space, and having those timbers and the stones running all the way through, just trying to paint a picture for a client on how we would design for a Hampton space, how would you walk through like a facade design for them?
Yeah, okay. I would probably start with, obviously, the home is where everyone comes to, whether you're entertaining, family, whatever it might be. But I think it has to tell a story right from the get-go. So having the front facade looking like, this is our home, like that sense of pride. So then having some little details that make it unique to them, but then also still taking homage to that Hamptons sort of style. I think when it comes to the actual design itself, I would have, a nice, beautiful front porch, sort of nice terraced or landscaping out the front as well. Nice privacy sort of fence there. And then basically have, your front entry foyer with your, bedrooms or like maybe a kid's rumpus or something like that then has a straight hallway or thoroughfare to the rear where it is opened and becomes that part of the home where everyone congregates every single day. That then, connects to your alfresco outdoor barbecue dining space, to a pool. So it always has that sense of journey from the start to the finish, but then everyone is coming together at one in the rear, basically, most likely toward the north, hopefully. But then at least it's like, an open plan. So when you're entertaining, you're still having that connection from the internal to the external. If you're in the kitchen, kids are in the pool, you can still see just things in the terms of the design where your line of sight is still really important, from internal to the external and vice versa, just so then you can still feel like you're connected but not so separated, I guess. Yeah. That's how I put it.
That kitchen, the servery window, the bifold, the gas strut windows out the back, the beers through the window. It's like one of the strongest words I think you said through that was having that journey. Like it's one of those things that's drilled into us from the start, right? We want to take that owner or the builder or the homeowner through a journey and I guess having something that they're proud of, and by doing that, giving them a story to be able to tell their visitors or their family about, where everything is and why everything's placed the way it is.
Exactly.
It makes or breaks the design.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and staying strong with that Hamptons design, I think, taking them through that journey and making a warm, inviting home that just kind of delivers on that Christmas vibe, on that Christmas weekend when everybody's kind of hanging out and being able to join each other.
Yes.
G'day guys, just quickly, if you're finding this podcast info relevant to you, then I'd like to quickly talk to you about what we do at MT Design Collective. You hear us talk all the time about the importance of solid, detailed home design practices so that you're not left with extra fees, delays, or unexpected costs in building your ultimate home. Here at MTDC, we design homes and provide plans that builders love to build and councils love to approve. If you're looking at a renovation, a new build, or alteration, then we'd love to help you work out the next steps forward. Book a free, no obligation chat with us, and we'll come out to your site, as it's the only way to truly get authentic, no bullshit advice. Link is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. Now, when you're designing for the MTDC guys or clients, what do you love about when somebody asks, "Hey, I want a Hamptons designed house"? What's your favorite thing?
I love creating, again, like how we touched on before, just creating a really nice central hub in the back. So if there's a way that I can, reshuffle a couple things and make it a little bit more functional, just even when you enter the home. So for example, they have a garage and there's no dumping zone for the kids for their school bags, shoes. Okay, let's see if there's a way we can fit a little mudroom or something. Or even if the garage connects to, say, a walk-through pantry that opens onto the kitchen and then so on. I love to try and do that. Overall, just functionality, and then little hints of that character of the Hamptons throughout the design as well. If it's, a nice balustrade or, stacked stone, timber, feature walls, even in the internal foyer or hallway or something like that. I try and take little bits and pieces from each, but make it really, intentional in where I place those items or materials or whatever, just so then it, one, grows with the family, but then also creates a really nice balance between the existing, what it has to offer, but then also creating a nice Hamptons feel for the client as well that they love forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And having those accents of like the big pendant lights and the big showy fireplaces and things like that is a massive benefit to having that open plan living and having that connection with the family. The Hampton style in particular, it thrives on that symmetry in throughout the facade all the way through to the house,
For sure.
front to back, and that when you're in a good and well designed Hamptons home, that it's going to be warm, it's going to be light, it's going to be bright, it's going to be airy.
Absolutely.
And it feels like a nice home because you have those whites. Now, personally for myself, like I've been asked for Hamptons for 5 years. Every time we design a house, I have every second client saying, "Hey, I want something Hamptons."
Yeah.
And the first thing is that righto, we're looking for a white cladded home that's got those gables, so the flat gables or the Dutch gables where we've got that little bit of a roof in the front before the Dutchy, and then we've got potential dormer windows, which are the windows that look outside of the roof cavity.
Yeah.
However, I do think over the last 5 years, it's been well and truly overdone.
That's so true.
I think every second person wants Hamptons, but I think unfortunately I think Hamptons, or the word Hamptons, has been watered down so much that it doesn't mean the same thing for everybody anymore.
No.
So the Hampton styles we've done multiple designs that look Hamptonsy. They look beautiful, but over time, because of these renovation shows or because of these building shows, the Hamptons style has been bastardized.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been chopped and changed, and it's been molded, and then all of a sudden these people go, "Hey, this is a Hampton style," but then it starts to evolve. But that's the beautiful thing about, I think, Hamptons as well. Like, even though Hamptons means such a broad spectrum of designs, as long as you've got that light, bright, airy gable feeling, it's almost easily evolved. And I think that's the greatest thing about Hamptons. While the Hamptons has a foundational design, I think it's such an open-ended way to design now. And I guess being able to design for the Hamptons, and as it's starting to evolve in the architectural world, it's becoming more acceptable to change it.
Yeah, for sure.
And now it's becoming a more modern design. There's so many examples now where we get this Hamptons-esque feel about it, but with that modern feel of, we're starting to bring that minimalist vibe in there, where it becomes like very straight line, very, very exact, whereas Hamptons is a little bit more free flowing, a little bit more, like I said, beachy.
Yeah, for sure.
There's multiple designs that we've done recently that kind of align with that Hamptons vibe, and I think you know it well. You've helped us design one of them. It was out at Swansea, of all places, right there on the beach, and this was a great big 3-story thing.
It's beautiful, but it's massive. It's crazy. Yeah.
Like, I mean, compliances aside, obviously we've got the height issues and things like that, but it was bang on everything that you'd expect from a Hamptons design.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It had the thick timber posts. It had the whitewash timbers. It had the big colonial bars and the big doors, and it had the gable roofs. And it was super open, and there was just that connection. It's a beautiful home. And I can't wait to see it go up. But yeah, once that is probably at its core.
Oh, for sure. Design. That is a Hamptons house. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I mean, like I was saying, as it's kind of progressed, we've got other people who are asking for Hamptons designs, and they say that they really love that space, but then all of a sudden they're like, well, you know what, maybe we don't want those timbers, or maybe we don't want those horizontal cladding or the horizontal weatherboards, and then they start adding the bricks, and they start adding the concretes, and then they start mucking around with the new versions of the cladding, like the Axon and things like that.
Yep.
Have you experienced any of those those changes in the Hamptons design space?
Yeah, I had one in Salamander Bay, and it was like on a corner block, and it was a 2-story sort of Hampton style that they wanted, but it didn't have the gable sort of traditional roof line. It was I guess we had an issue with heights as well, so we had to kind of morph it into almost a skillion, but have the parapet sort of wall finish, but then still have your details like the fretwork and your colonial paneling for the windows and things like that. Same with the balustrade as well. We almost did the same sort of vertical look to it. So then it kind of played in with the fretwork. That's the timber sort of on the top of the ceiling. But yeah, it was kind of like a mix of those two, but then still having that tie in with the timbers and the whites. And because it was overlooking the water as well, it kind of had that Hamptons sort of feel, like coastal feel. But yeah, it was mainly the roof line that we kind of fixed up that, you know, ended up being like almost like a hybrid Hamptons-ish sort of design. And I think it's in construction now, so hopefully get to see it soon. Which would be good.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the parapets added to the Hamptons because I mean, straight away once the parapets get taken, once the gables and once the hips and you know, your Dutchies start getting taken away from that Hamptons look, we start moving into a different design style. It's no longer those pitched roofs. And it's funny that you mentioned that because we had a very similar client as well out at Burrigal. She had a 2-story house, and she came in, she was so adamant. She was like, Matt, hey, I want a Hampton-style house. This is what I want. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's break that down a little bit. And after 9 months of designing, 9-10 months of designing, it's not what she wanted. She didn't actually want the Hamptons look anymore. It was more a Palm Springs look. So that's where the Palm Springs come in with the parapets, and they come with those flatter roof pitches. We'll go into that in another episode, but ultimately she came in, she was so adamant, and she said she wanted those light, bright, airy spaces, and she wanted the timbers, and she wanted all those kind of stuff. But when we kind of went through that design process, we started establishing, hey, well, wait a minute, no, we don't want that anymore. We want more stonework. We want more. We want more Palm Springs, and it made a complete difference because it's not the same look house anymore, and you don't have the dormer windows, and you don't have those big windows that you do find in Hamptons. They are a different design style, so it's incredibly important, I guess, when you're asking your designer for what you want. It's important to make sure that you're asking for the right thing.
Oh, for sure.
Not paying attention to the renos and the building shows. It's going through Pinterest, it's going through Instagram, it's going through your Google searches. Maybe an interior designer if you've been in touch with one. I think having someone coming up to, for me personally, coming up to ask for a Hampton-style house, they need to first understand that, hey, this is a horizontal weatherboard look. This is a gable. This is a pitched roof. This is what we're looking for. It can be a single. It can be a double. It's just one of those things. It's, hey, there aren't clean, crisp lines all the way through this. This is a flowy house. This is something that presents as a welcoming home for that coastal Australia. Coastal Australia look. What would you recommend, Bree, when you go out to site and see a client and they ask for Hamptons?
I think definitely the colours and the textures that they're kind of looking for. Even just the color of the outside of the house, what type of whites you want. Like,
there's a million of them.
There's so many. And so that would be a big one. Secondary would be, your woods. Like, what are you drawn to? Is it a tallow wood, or is it, an oak, or what it could be? Like, there's lots of ways that even just those materials really do talk to each other. That would be a big one. If we're balancing it with, your stonework, or like, your steel and things like that, like we can really try and work with what you've got. Another one is, noticing what's happening in the backyard or inside the house, like what's the temperature, like are you getting a lot of light in certain areas that you would like to kind of, capture. And if you wanted to add in some light in some hallways, some skylights, and how we can really tie all that together. And even when it comes down to, if you wanted to do the vaulted ceiling look, like, is there an opportunity here where if it is north facing, can we add in some highlight windows in through there and, create an even more of a grand feel in the backyard, in the back there. So that would be a couple of my other ones.
Having that north facing living space and having that ability to open up the house to the airflow is a huge benefit, particularly with that Hamptons design. It allows us to design for it, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Bree, here's a tricky one for you. do you think Hamptons has a place in Australian design in the future?
As much as I love it, I think it's been done over and over and over again. I think we're kind of veering more toward of a minimalistic sort of version of Hamptons, but I think, yeah, I don't know. I think it's becoming more and more about that modern sort of sleek style where you got your parapets and you got your straight edges and things like that. I don't see it much of a gable sort of, it's hard. It is, yeah, but I don't know. I don't think so.
I think it has its place, but I think the place has been done way too much.
Yep.
I think as a Hamptons design in its foundational format, I think it's falling away.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the more people evolve into the straight lines and into these finer details, I think the Hamptons design is just going to be exactly it. Moving forward, I think I agree. I think the straight lines, I think the parapets, I think the low falls, the hiding of the ridges. I think they're starting to. I think they're starting to evolve, and I think they're starting to come out more in design. And I think it's starting to show, because there's the emergence of the Scandi hut design, and we'll go through that in another episode as well. But the Scandi hut design, while that does have a high pitched roof and it does have a ridge through it, it doesn't have the hips. It doesn't have. It has a lot of features, but it's almost again another evolution or another cutaway from that Hampton style, because you're high pitched roofs, but it's got the flat gable, but it's a big flat house. You know what I mean? So there's so many design factors. There's so many things to kind of crack on with when it comes to designing a home, and it's just showing the importance of how people want to live and their kind of tastes when they come to us, because the famous saying is that form follows function. We're taught that from the start, and at the end of the day, we can design for whatever somebody wants, but without that style or without that direction, it could turn into anything.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us again today, Bree. And look, I can't wait till this segment starts to evolve and we can start talking about more styles and start to answer some questions. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Thanks heaps. Thanks for listening to this week's app of The Lounge. To make sure you don't miss out on the next episode, hit subscribe. We'd love to get the message out to more homeowners like you. Make sure you leave a rating and a review, and we'll see you on the next app.